So first up, a couple of things. Yes, I apologize for accidentally naming last week's video episode 88 reactions. Why did I do this? Well, I may or may not have been totally sober when I did that episode title. Thing 2, today proves why I need to start doing these on Monday, as I was trying to do this yesterday, but wound up getting lazy and putting it off. Which basically brings us into this week's episode. First up, though, my one gripe with it. How the heck does nobody notice Sora? Like, seriously, there's a little kid hanging on a helicopter. This doesn't make any sense. He doesn't weigh the helicopter down and then he can just jump down on the crow. Is this supposed to be a child soldier or Superman? That made no sense to me. But that was just one thing. The rest of this episode was perfect. First up, visually, this episode was great. Now, was this the first time that... Actually, you know what? No, I'll get to that in a minute. Let's start off from the beginning. One thing I really liked was there was no sort of recap of last week. Even though I like the way they do the recaps in this just started out with Roger giving a little exposition. And I'm going to be straight up honest, it was terrifying. It really put me into the episode in such a beautifully perfect way. Because the thing is, listen to what this guy is saying. Yes, he's basically filling everyone in on what happened 2 weeks ago. But think about this for a minute. He's talking about torturing a small child and just using him as, okay, he's not a small child, but this is a 14-year-old kid, and this guy is electrocuting him in the head. And he's laughing. He's getting off on it. Like, and it's so subtle, like, it is just a laugh and some dialogue. There is no sort of over-the-top element to it. It's just, he loves this. He likes doing this. He gets a sense that this will get him what he wants, and he doesn't care. This is a pure sociopath. And it's so great to watch. It just put me into the episode, and it really got me psyched for what was to come. First up, just in general, the way everything was drawn in this episode. I like that we just went right into it. Once the opening credits are, we go right into the duel, and he summons Rebellion Dragon. I love the way Rebellion Dragon looked in this episode. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we've gotten an up-close shot of Rebellion in 2D animation. I'm pretty certain up until now it's just been done with CGI, and I play this card, and I just noticed for the first time how truly terrifying it looks. It looks monstrous. It looks like something not right. It looks evil, and the episode plays that up so beautifully with the way the backgrounds look and the nighttime atmosphere and the sense of terror you get watching it. Everything was brought together perfectly to make you afraid of what was going to happen next, and it did not disappoint. A lot of this was also done through showing Roger's failures in this episode. He wanted to do what he did with Serena and send Yugioh to an action card to help him. He wanted to keep manipulating the duel and keep controlling the electricity levels, but there's something more going on here, something beyond anything any of these guys can understand, and I love that. It brings this whole thing, makes it feel bigger, makes it feel darker and more mysterious. I love that when Roger realized he couldn't control Yugioh anymore, the guy's saying, we could kill this kid. Like, this kid could literally die at our hands. He's like, whatever, so be it. Like, he doesn't care, and it just makes you hate him so much. Like, just fuck this guy. Like, he's so evil and dastardly, and it sent a shiver up and down my spine. It was so good. And just everything else from the way it worked, the looks on Yugioh's face throughout the episode, it's just like, this kid isn't well. And I got this sense watching it that normally with a show like this, there's a sense of wish fulfillment. You want to be the hero. You want to be the adventurer. No, watching this, what's going on with this kid throughout this series, you don't want happening to you. And I loved everything about how everything executed itself. It wasn't a very long duel, but to be fair, the situation didn't allow it. I like the fact that the show's not trying to make Yugioh seem like this ultimate duelist. Realistically, the only way he's ever going to beat Crow is in a situation like this where he's got basically magic power help. And the thing is, I like the way Crow reacted to it. Like, the minute Crow realized something was wrong, he was into it. I complained last time that I thought that they sort of dragged it out a bit, and I thought it was unnecessary for him to suspect Yugioh might actually be a bad guy. But the thing is, I'm glad they didn't spend too much time on it here. And the minute he saw the eyes, he's like, yeah, no, something is wrong. And I do like the way the duel went. There are some things, though, that I did take issue with on Crow's behalf. I don't understand why the Vulture Tuner thing needed to have that stipulation where if the monster is destroyed, he loses the duel. Why couldn't he have just summoned it and attacked and be done with it? I like the fact that the equip spell had an effect that I thought would make sense for a pendulum deck, because if a pendulum monster gets destroyed, it just gets sent to the extra deck, so you might as well use something like that for extra burn damage. But just in general, everything was great. I love the just sort of imagination you can get, just wondering what's going on with the bracelets and the Yuzus and the Yuyas. Just everything about this episode for me, with minus one or two little gripes, was perfect. Also, Academia is here. And also, they're on paragliders. Because, those couldn't be taken out by a rock or a bird or anything like that, but whatever, who cares? That's just a silly little formality detail. Shit's going down, and I can't wait to see where it goes down from here. So as always, click to like, click to subscribe, tell me your thoughts on this episode, and for today's TCG question of the week, one thing I've noticed lately that's growing up is a lot of people want Anti-Spell Fragrance and Naturia Beast to get banned or limited because of how much they hurt Pendulum decks. I respectfully disagree. I actually think with how Pendulum-based the format is, you kind of need something like this that can really shut down a Pendulum deck. It keeps things more interesting, and it keeps the Pendulums more in check, to know that they do have to learn to play around and really think about how to play around these cards, but they're not that hard to play around. But the thing is, I am curious to see what other people have to think. Everyone has their own opinion, so in the comments section below, give me your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on this episode, and everything else. And, oh my god, I can't wait to see where things go from here.